else comes in later, that's okay. They are welcome. But thank you so much for coming today, for showing up. I'm so grateful to be here for the Conscious Life Expo. It's the first time I get to do one of these workshops here in Los Angeles, which is super exciting. The last few were, I had to get on a plane and fly across the world, and this time I only had to go to LAX. I didn't have to actually get on a plane. So this was super fun. Yes. So today's workshop, it's all about raise your vibes. It's all about crystal Reiki and really channeling that divine healing, the two healing modalities between Reiki, our universal life force energy, and our crystal energy, which is really here from Mother Earth, right? So crystals are millennia and millennia old, right? As we know, they've been around much longer than we have, and they'll be here much longer than well past our days. And Reiki is that divine healing light, that divine energy from source. So when we bring these two together, which we'll go into today, it creates the most incredible healing modality. So a little backstory about myself, literally a backstory. When I was 19, I rolled over in a car accident on the freeway just over here, 110 and the 5, 4 times. And from all appearances, it looked like I got up and I walked out and I was fine. What we didn't see in the scans at the time was that my lower back had taken the hit. We thought it was all my neck. Apparently that's common in convertibles, I don't know. And so when I had to go and get my back checked out, it was very shortly after the accident, I was having spells where I couldn't walk. So I was 19 at the time, so now we're a few years ago. Couple decades. Yeah, it's fine. Who's counting? And back then, I had gone through literally everything. I exhausted everything in Western medicine that I could, from physiotherapy, physical therapy, chiropractic, medication, injections, surgery, everything. I had nerve pain that went down. And for 16 years, I was plagued by this. And had to go through, we thought I couldn't have kids. It was kind of traumatic, right? And after exhausting all of these different modalities and trying literally everything in Western medicine, I was like, this is it. And my doctors are like, well, it's just whatever you can live with, and here's a prescription, right? And that wasn't acceptable for me. I was like, this can't be the end of the line. This can't be the end of my story. Like, I'm not going to live like this. I need to take my power back. So I started looking into alternatives. I had heard about energy healing. I'm like, okay, let's see what's energy healing. And then I had this really amazing calling to Reiki. And I had never had a Reiki session before. I'd never experienced it. I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to do something with my hands. So I started looking into Reiki. I've now studied with 3 different masters. Kind of can't get enough of it, right? And then I started getting into crystals. So during my post-op especially, I was really in an incredible mind-numbing kind of pain, like the kind you can't focus, you can't do anything. You succumb to this pain. And at one point, my jaw was shaking, I'm sobbing, I'm crying, I'm, just a complete mess, and I can't get control of it. None of the medications were working that they were giving me, like nothing. It was just really one of those extreme moments in my life. And my husband, who's back here behind us, my lovely husband, he shouts over me in the middle of this episode, "You're a Reiki master, for God's sakes. Do Reiki on yourself." And it was like, I can do that. Okay. And I was like, I'll try. And it wasn't one of those things that I thought to go to, because Reiki, usually you're in a very serene setting. It's like getting a spiritual massage, or maybe you have some crystals, some incense. This was like traumatic. This was sterile. This was like awful. And so, okay, through my tears, and I bring my hands up and I start going through the Reiki positions down my body, and really not thinking this is even going to do anything, but like, okay, I'll try. And within 45 seconds, within a minute, my breath started to come back to me. My jaw stopped shaking. Everything calmed down. All of a sudden I could see, like I'd open my eyes and I had people in the room with me that I didn't even know were there. And that was my like aha moment. And now I had already been a Reiki master once over. So it was like, I have to share this. Like I'm a believer, but now I'm really a believer because this was in a trauma situation and it was so fast. So after this, it was like, okay, I have to let people know. How do I let people know? What do I do? So it was going through, starting with like a little social media. Here, guys, come look at crystals. Come look at Reiki. And the thing about Reiki is it will always go to where your body needs it most. It's this wonderful, intelligent energy healing. So it's from source or from God or your angels or the universe, whatever it is that you believe in. You're channeling that divine healing light energy from above, we'll say. And the thing is, when you're channeling Reiki, it's going to where Reiki knows you need it most. But most people who go into, a Reiki session, for example, or clients that I've had, I have trouble with sleeping, or I have trouble with anxiety, or I have trouble with, whatever their ailments, self-love, relationships, etc., past traumas. And they want it fixed now. They don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 Reiki sessions to ease into this healing, right? They want to immediately have results, which most people, we kind of feel like that. That's why Western medicine is so prevalent, because it's like, oh, you don't feel well, here's a prescription, right? And the problem is this doesn't get to the source of your issue. This doesn't handle it. It handles the all the stuff on the surface, but doesn't get down deep and get to the cause, the root. And with crystals, what's so cool is now you're taking this beautiful energy, which I have a crystal grid here you can see. Please come up and enjoy it at some point during this session, because it's so fabulous. So with crystals, you're taking that ancient energy, that ancient wisdom from our Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is all healing in herself, because we are a product of Earth, right? We're source energy and Mother Nature coming together and in a skin suit, right? That's kind of like what our deal is. And with crystals, you have this beautiful energy that you're able to actually, depending on whatever your issue is, your ailment, your problem, you're able to take a crystal that directly affects and helps improve that ailment. So, for example, amethyst here is wonderful for insomnia if you're having trouble sleeping, or with nightmares. It's a really great crystal for that. So during a crystal Reiki session, you can take that energy from your crystal, right, and align it, and take that Reiki, and it's almost like you're amplifying that. You're amplifying that energy of the crystal, so that your place of focus, or your client's place of focus, receives healing in a very direct way. So it's like you're able to kind of zero in on where that problem is. And Reiki, meanwhile, will take care of all the other areas it's supposed to go to, but to your specific ailment, that crystal will work. Now, I love these for our chakras as well, because this is part of our energy system. Are you familiar with chakras? Yes, awesome. Reiki, is everybody familiar with Reiki? Fantastic. Okay, cool. So with our chakras, as these spinning wheels of energy that we have, what happens a lot is one will say, kind of like a camera shutter, kind of closes in when you're not balanced. And so, okay, people want to open this up. Sometimes it's like overexposure, right? But when you get that to a nice state of balance, what happens is it's really important to also balance those chakras together, because it's all flow, right? Everything flows in your energetic body. So if you've got one area that's not balanced, those other chakras are not going to be flowing as smoothly either, because it's all connected. right? Everything is connected. Mind, body, spirit, it's all connected. So are your chakras, your energy centers. Or in the Japanese lineage of Reiki, they're called the three diamonds, our earth key, heart key, and heaven key. And which really, if you look at the locations of them, those really also incorporate the chakras, where the chakra locations are, and work kind of in the same kind of way. So with our root chakra, there are certain crystals that are specifically kind of geared towards or energetically aligned with those root chakras. You have like a little card on your seat that has kind of like a quick cheat sheet, I guess you'd say, of your crystals on there. So you have kind of an idea. So if you're not that familiar with crystals and how they work, this is kind of a really good go-to. Like, I'm having issues with my root chakra, boom, here's my list. Certainly not exhaustive, like, all of them. There are so many. I mean, I have so many here as well. But it kind of gives you a nice guide as to where, those crystals will work for you energetically. Now, when we're working with crystal Reiki, not only are you using that crystal energy for, say, your root chakra, you're also channeling Reiki. So you're talking about like the most beautiful combination of healing modalities together in one. Everybody has kind of their drawn to certain energies at different points or different healing modalities. Sometimes it's sound, sometimes it's crystals, sometimes it's Reiki. Crystals you can incorporate into any of those healing modalities. With sound baths, if you look at a sound bath, those bowls, they're crystals, right? So I do crystal Reiki sound baths where you're just, you've got the Reiki, you've got the crystals, and then you've got the sound. So it like ushers it in. Now, crystal Reiki is it's more of a subtle energy. It's a softer energy. So during a session, if it's in person, I would place the crystals directly on the body. During distance sessions, I would create a grid very similar to this, except our center stone right here would be a photograph of the client. And then I'm able to channel Reiki to that person. And the photograph is really to help me, just to make that physical connection, because they're not next to me. So, your eyes, you see, and it just helps you connect better. But I've done it with names as well. If someone is, camera shy, that happens too. And so I will work with that, putting them in the center, because I want them to be the center focus of the session, right? That the intention set is on the client and they're in the middle of the grid. And then through that, then I do the Reiki session. So I'm actually able to channel that crystal energy for whatever their ailments are, whatever your ailments are, whatever your thing is, your sleep, your heartache, your old traumas, and able to channel that crystal energy together with Reiki for what's really such a divine healing experience. So after I had discovered that this was like, oh my God, the most amazing thing, and I can't believe after all these years, 16 years, I have been suffering and struggling and driving my poor husband crazy with my complaints of pain, now I had something that I could work with. Now I had something that, I could take my power back. I could heal myself. I could help myself get over pain. I haven't been on pain medication now for, how many years are we at? I don't know, 5, I guess? 5, 6 years? 5 years? 5 years? Yeah, so in 5 years, I haven't had any pain medication. I've been able to completely stop it, and I have no pain. And that's the big one, is to actually live with no pain. And I have screws, bolts, brackets, I got all that stuff back in there. Hardware's the scars to prove it. It's awesome. I'm the bionic woman, maybe. But it doesn't matter, because I'm stronger now and I know how to take care of myself energetically. And I think I realized too, during this healing process, especially I was doing Reiki on myself every day, crystals, sleeping with crystals. I had them all over my bed. I wasn't able to go upstairs to sleep in my own bed, so I had like my temporary, and I had crystals all over the place. My husband's like, wow, you're sleeping with rocks now. Okay, I don't even know. and hey, whatever works, right? So really worked on myself. And during that, I realized, it wasn't all physical ailment. It wasn't all physical pain. I mean, that's where my healing journey started. But then you realize through this work, through doing this, and the more you do it, the more sensitive you are, the more you feel it, the more that subtle energy doesn't feel subtle anymore. It starts to like spark at you, right? Your hands get hot or sometimes cold, depending. And it's just this beautiful thing that I realized, okay, but I'm not living in my truth. I'm not living, my own purpose. And maybe that was also a lot of what was happening. I mean, the car accident really prevented me from going somewhere that I shouldn't have been. Hi, welcome. That I shouldn't have been going anyway, right? Probably, it was like angels, intervening and saying, nope, we're going to veto this. And, but as a result, I had, this injury that lasted. So I got to work on all of this emotional stuff that I had never dealt with and spiritual stuff that I was suddenly connecting. I mean, as people say, you connect with rocks. I'm like, I don't call them rocks, they're crystals. I'm like, but yes, now I connect with crystals and I connect with this beautiful healing modality. And then, just before the pandemic, because like I was saying, I really wanted to share this. I'm like, I have to get this message out. But I didn't know how. So then I have this publisher reach out, like, I want to write a book with you. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, yes, let's do it, right? And then the pandemic hit. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. It's going to be over. Everybody was closing. They were like, some people were furloughed or they were working 1 week, out of the month. And I thought, oh my gosh, like just when I had this and now it's gone. And reached out to my publisher, said, no, we're very much on, but we'll extend your deadline because now, we can't even go to work. And so during that pandemic, I mean, talk about a silver lining, right? I actually had time to sit and to focus and in the book and Raise Your Vibes, energy self-healing for everyone. Because when I started this, I wasn't an expert. I still don't consider myself an expert. I'm just like you all, right? Like I'm living life in a universe in a skin suit, day-to-day issues, relationships, navigating our path just like everybody else. But I found things that really, really worked for me and I wanted to share it. So at one point it was like, cramming everything that I could do, everything that I knew into this book. And at one point my publisher's like, okay, if you don't stop, this is going to be a really long book. I was like, okay, I'm good. We'll stop. So within there, I mean, there's the focus, like I said, on different healing modalities and what works for you. So there's sound, there's crystals, there's the chakras and using sound for the chakras that helps you. Not everybody can meditate, right? Sometimes people struggle to meditate and, if that's the case, holding on to your crystal, while you even just chant or use some affirmations can be wonderful. I start every day with a gratitude practice because when you start with a gratitude practice, it's almost like anything that happens during the day, you're starting from this positive. So it's just harder to knock you over during the day, even if, life goes to pieces. If you're starting on that higher level, you do get through it a little bit easier. Now, with our chakras, how this is so amazing. So our root chakra, and I'm only going over this because I know for myself when I started studying chakras and started studying Reiki, it wasn't as clear to me what all of this meant. And what I found was by having that really strong root chakra or having that really strong hara, which is our earth key in the Japanese lineage, when we have a really strong root chakra, same thing. You're so anchored to this earth, to the physical plane. And we are physical beings, so being grounded in the physical is super important if we're going to have, a happy and healthy life, right? Because we have to live here, right? At least this time around. Who knows for the next time. So when we work with crystals for our root chakra, we're giving ourselves that amazing anchor, that wonderful strength. So no matter what comes your way, if you are anchored and you're grounded in yourself, And in this physical world, again, connected with Mother Earth, connected with, your inner being, it's, again, so much harder to knock you over. You've got that strength. And then when we get into our sacral, this is all about our intimacy. This is our connections of creation, where we come from. A lot of women especially, but men as well, have a lot of issues with sacral chakra because we have, old traumas, or something that came up when we were younger that we kind of carry it there because that's our creation. That's what brings us alive. And then up to our solar plexus, and I thought this was really important when I was learning about them, is that, we think about this solar plexus as being like, oh, well, that's your willpower, that's your strength, right? Your personal strength, which, yes, it is. But this is also where so much of your intuition comes from that gut, from that solar plexus. And it's that intuition that drives you to know which path is correct for you, your life purpose. So having a really strong solar plexus will really help you, especially if you're questioning, what am I doing with my life? What's happening? Why am I here? This one is really good to work on. And then, of course, our heart chakra. This is how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about others, and the love that we also give out to the world, because that's so important. You say what you give, you get back, but doesn't always feel like it, right? And part of that is because, we have to work on that heart chakra. What's so important about this one is it helps everything below and it helps everything above to stay balanced. So when this is out of alignment, it's kind of like our whole system is out. And anybody who's had a heartbreak or had some kind of like heart healing, like love trauma, will know it's almost like you feel like you can't go on. Like people say, they die from heartache. And then they'll know you can't really die from a heartbreak, but you feel like it, right? And that's because everything above and below is also just, not doing well, not balanced, not spinning correctly, not open, not loving. And then our throat chakra, where so many of us, it's not just speaking your truth. It's not just being verbal, or in my case right now, being on stage and like talking to you, right? That's not what it's about too. It's also, saying what you mean to say, everything from your heart. And so many of the times we don't speak not just our truth, but even our intention. We're not speaking out to the world what we really mean, whether we're scared because, it's not going to go over well, or somebody won't be receptive. Likewise, sometimes what we hear from others, their throat chakra, our own throat chakra is not receiving what they mean to say. Like we're taking it wrong. That's why there's so many arguments, especially in relationships, because it's miscommunication. You're not feeling each other's vibration, and the words that are coming out are not matching what their intention is. So that happens a lot. So when we work on this, it's so much easier to communicate. It's so much easier to have relationships that are more harmonious, and as well as creative. So much of your creative in the world, in the physical world, comes from this, whether it's writing or journaling, writing music, singing, any of these things. This all also comes from your throat chakra because you're expressing that. And then, of course, our third eye, because everybody wants to open their third eye. I find everybody's like, yes, blow it wide open. I want to explore. So anybody who's an empath out there, maybe like a clairsentient, clairvoyant, anybody? Any clairs over here? Maybe. Our empaths are especially affected there. And it's amazing to open your third eye chakra. It can be such a gift. The thing is, when we blow this wide open, we're out there, we're just enjoying, this new spiritual journey. We forget that we have to stay grounded, right? So if we don't have that strong base, that root chakra anchoring us to our physical because we're physical beings, if we're not anchored there, it's almost like a balloon that just, a healing balloon that just goes flying, and then you tend to get lost. And then you're like, but I'm doing so much spiritual work. I don't know why I'm lost. I don't know why this is happening to me, or why I'm so miserable, or why I'm not getting to where I want to go in life. And it's like, well, just try grounding a bit and, get your root chakra in order. And then it's like having that strong anchor, so you're free to fly. So you're free to go out and explore, but you're safe because you stay grounded. And then everything you do explore, you're able to apply to your life in the present, because that's where it's really important, right? And then our crown chakra, of course, this is related to, our divine connection, our connection with the divine, the connection with our angels, with God, with source, universe, aliens, whatever it is that suits your fancy, that you're into. That's real, and as well as your divine intuition, that intuition that goes beyond what we have here in the physical. And this is also where we channel Reiki. So when you're working with Reiki, it is entering this energy. It's like a straw, like right here. And you've got that beautiful funnel, that beautiful straw of energy flowing in, and it flows from your crown chakra and then into your whole system. And when someone is doing, Reiki for another person, what's so beautiful is you're also taking that energy and it's coming in to you. So it's really like a 2-for-1. I'm healing myself and then I'm healing, the other person as well, which is such a gift. So it's like the gift that keeps giving. I'm healing someone else, and I'm not me, but with Reiki, I'm helping to heal someone else, but at the same time, I'm healing myself. And the best Reiki practitioners are the ones that really stay on it with their self-Reiki, with their self-practice. How many spiritual people do you know? As soon as it's like meditating, if you meditate and you kind of stop for like a week or you stop for a month, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know why I'm so frazzled. I don't know why all this is happening. Well, because you haven't been, doing the work, right? And you have to do that spiritual work for yourself. So I personally love to do this, of course, with Reiki, and then with my crystals. Now, the thing about crystals, and another way you can, it's important, like, what are they, right? Okay, they're these ancient, they're beautiful, right? They're beautiful, they're shiny. But what does that do? How do we connect with their energy? Well, you can with Reiki, by channeling Reiki. If you are not attuned to Reiki, that's okay. Hey, all about the love. It's the highest vibration is love. So you can use love in lieu of Reiki. But another is just, simply holding it in your hands while you meditate, if you're a meditator. Another, I obviously like to wear them. I love wearing crystals because they make me feel good, and they're pretty, and I always need something. So it's like, here, what's gonna work for for myself? And I always Reiki infuse them as well, just to make sure they're vibrating at their optimal energy. Another way is you can, as I do, and I think I have maybe 3, maybe 4 angel crystals tucked into my bra, but pockets are great, bras are great. Do you do that too? I love it. Okay, good. I'm not the only one. Yeah, it's just when you forget that you have them, and then, you change at the end of the night, and it's like they're just dropping all. Oops. Did it? Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's amazing. I love, like, the silent meditations, and all of a sudden you hear pings, because it's, like, dropping out of your clothes. Oops. Never mind me, right? And then another amazing way, and probably one of my favorites, is to place the crystals under your pillow. So just think about how many hours you spend a night in your bed. So, depending on your lifestyle, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, however many, that is so many hours to align yourself with crystals and with their energy, which is probably why I was sleeping with so many crystals during my recovery. But I think I kind of like to think of them kind of like, it's like a pendulum. So you have that crystal under your pillow, right? And you've got the crystal energy over here, and then you've got your own energy over here, which you're suffering through, whatever it is, or not even suffering. Maybe you're just, you want some support in something else. So, for example, if I've ever had an argument with my husband, right, we had that rose quartz is going right under the pillow. And then the next day it's like, what were we fighting about? You know what? It doesn't even, who cares? It doesn't even make sense anymore. It's all about the love. We're good, So when you put those under there, you've got your energy, and then you've got the crystal energy, And what happens is during your sleep, because it's so many hours of aligning, eventually they come back together down here and you become one with that energy. And then it's such a beautiful way to connect, because whatever that is, so rose quartz, for example, it's that love. You want to vibrate that love. So what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to align with the energy of the crystal. And that crystal loves to, right? The energy, think about it, it's Mother Earth. She loves to help you heal. Your angels, you sleep maybe with angel light. You're trying to connect with your angels and you're having trouble looking at signs or recognizing signs. So sleeping with that angel light, you wake up in the morning, sometimes you've had vivid dreams of them. Sometimes all of a sudden you'll start seeing signs. Synchronicities, 111s, 222s, 1212s. Today I thought it was so cool. My workshop happens to be on 212. I'm like, wow, oh my God, that's so great. Of course it is. I did another one in London and it happened to fall on the new moon. And I was like, it's all about divine timing. But when you're connected with your angels, you start to see these signs daily. I have found feathers in the most random places. One of my most shocking one of my most shocking angel signs. I was going into my closet and I don't remember now where I had to go that day, but I go and I get my shoes and there's a feather in my shoe. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, how did that even get there? And I'm looking around my closet, there's nothing in my closet that has anything even remotely, but it was like angels there, I'm going to help guide your path. I'm going to help with each step you take. I'm going to be there with you and just want you to know. And they were just letting me know, I am there with you. I'm here to help you and guide you on your path. So that was it was like one of those amazing, amazing moments connecting with my angels. And of course, that's all in Raise Your Vibes too, how to connect with them, how to really enjoy and recognize when they're around you and when they're near you, because they bring in that beautiful energy. And then after I wrote the book, after the pandemic, the craziest things started happening. So I do a lot of distance healing work, right? And create crystal grids. Most of my clients live really far away from India, Australia, Europe, they're all over the place. And that was one of the silver linings of the pandemic, is I could reach people from all over. You had to change focus, okay, in person isn't going to work, so we'll do distance. So I would create these grids for them and work with them, across seas. And all of a sudden I started getting these messages that would come through. So originally when I started, it was okay, this is the chakra you need to work on. That I worked on. This is the area of your life that maybe you're going to see some improvement, some shift. And then the sessions totally changed, and I started getting really direct messages for the client. And it was, at first I was like, okay, Athena, you're losing your marbles. It has gone on too far. I need to stop. But what would happen is the message would continue and continue, and it would haunt me if I didn't pay attention, if I didn't, relay that message to the client. So one of these, it was a grandmother that had come through. And I've never really considered myself a medium. I just thought, well, I work with energy, I work with crystals, but now I'm hearing messages and voices or having visions. And I'm like, wow, this is really, I don't know how to deal with this. And then I realized I have to share this. Again, it was this moment of I have to share with the other people. And then as soon as I did that, all of a sudden they were having these moments of oh my gosh, how did you know that? Or how did you see that? Nicknames that would come through. I'm like, I don't know what this name is. I have no idea what this means. I hope this resonates for you because I feel like a crazy person. And then they would come back oh my gosh, that's what my grandmother would call me when I was little, which was incredible validation for me. I mean, that was awesome. It was okay, yes, I'm not crazy. This is actually real. And then other visions with people who had traumas and, loved ones that had crossed over already, especially they would come through. And I was okay, so clearly having, my angelite crystal or my jade, which jade is wonderful for connecting with your ancestors. when I have those in the grid, I get the messages that come through, just incredible, from people's, relatives that have passed over. Sometimes it's mothers, sometimes it's grandmothers. I find the women energy kind of tends to come through more, but I have, maybe just because I'm female, they feel comfortable, like, hey, let's go say hi to you. But I've had grandfathers come through too. And it's really just such an amazing, powerful experience for the person that I'm working on. And it has nothing to do with me. Like, I feel like I'm just the channel. I'm just the one there relaying the message, like, don't shoot the messenger. Like, this is what you're meant to hear. And I hope it resonates. And then, they do. And then they're able to have a more profound healing, because now they have something that's connecting them with, the other side. So now it's like we've got Reiki coming in here, and then we've got crystals coming in here, and now we have like angels or guardian angels or past relatives coming through, and you really have this like divine healing experience. And this all helps us to raise our vibration, because so often, especially in the last couple of years, or are we at 3 now? I'm not sure. We've all kind of lost track of time, but in the last few years, so many of us have felt so isolated, so alone, so cut off from the world, which we were, right? And now we're able to kind of step out of that, which is so cool. I've seen so many people here at the Expo that are, like, forget all that business. We're going to join and mix energies again, which I love. I think it's so beautiful. And now that we're coming out of this, it's kind of like uncharted territory. Like, we have to get used to being around people again, right? And for some of us, that also brings some feelings of, anxiousness or self-doubt, or am I good enough? I mean, look, so we wore a mask covering our face for so long. It was like we forgot we're able to express ourselves. Like, we forgot what it looks like to have a smile, like, from somebody, So, when you're going out there now, just think, if you want to bring joy to somebody's day, give them a smile. It doesn't matter if you don't know who they are. And it doesn't matter if they think you're crazy, honestly, because you know what? Who cares? Like, all we have is what we think. So, if regardless, that's sending those love vibes, that joy out to another person. And even if they think you're nuts in the moment, they're going to walk away and actually like, oh, actually I kind of, now I feel a little better. And somebody smiled at me today. Like, how cool was that? It's like, she's weird, but that's okay. I still feel good, right? So carrying your crystals with you will do a similar thing. Keep your elevation, you're vibrating your energy higher, elevating that personal vibration, so that, because what you give out to the world, when you're vibrating a certain way, let's say it's with, self-love. If you're not loving yourself, who out there is going to show you that love too? Because you don't even recognize it. You don't know how to show it to yourself. So working on that, and using rose quartz is great. Using desert rose is wonderful for that. Really helps raise your vibration, so that now you're not only loving yourself, but you're sending that out, to the world. I mean, how many times do you go to a checkout stand and you can just tell the person's having like a really crap day, and you're like, wow, okay, her energy is all over the place. Like, what is going on? Or somebody snaps at you and they're like giving you some gnarly comment, or, flipping you off while you're driving. Really, these people, it's not personal. And that's what some of us we have to learn. Myself included, taking everything all personal, being an empath. It's like, oh my God, how does this work? Wait, what did I do? It's not personal. And I constantly remind myself of this. They're just having a really crap day, or they're going through something in their life. And I mean, I can tell you, all those years I lived in pain, oh my goodness, it was not fun. It was not fun. Like, and it wasn't that somebody was bothering me. I was bothered myself. And so I wasn't able to be the best mom that I am, or the best wife that I could be, the best friend that I could be, because I was suffering. I was in this state of like struggle. So when you see somebody out there that's maybe not the sweetest, just remember, I'm sorry, you're having a bad day or you're having a bad week. I am just going to send you love, because I don't know how else to help you. And then you can kind of but you can keep the energy there. I'm just going to send you love, and then I'm going to go over here. You keep that. But when we do this, when your energy is raised like this, you are also affecting the energy around you, right? Because you are an energetic being. We are. We're all made of energy. Everything within us, down to the little tiny bitty atoms. In fact, if you talk to a scientist, what is in that little bitty atom? Really get down to it, well, it's energy, right? So that's what we're made of. When you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you're sharing that love out to the world around you. So it's like, when I vibe higher, you vibe higher, and everybody around the world will too. So I hope that, at some point, because right now the world needs it so desperately. I mean, there's so much conflict and strife for all those beautiful, I'm sure you're familiar, I hope you are, all those beautiful men and women that are in Iran right now that are struggling, that are being persecuted and shut down for the smallest of personal freedoms. I would love to send them some love, send them some light, because they are so deserving of that love too. So I think now we can begin by, I would love to do a personal Rehu blessing for each of you. Thank you for joining me. Bye, love. Bye. Thank you. If you would like to receive, if you're okay with my coming around, I don't have to touch you. It can be close to you, depending how you feel. Yeah, more? Yeah, okay, I'm coming. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So before I begin with that, is there any questions? Is there anything you wanted to know about? I do. Yes. Oh, I love you. Yes. Thank you. Yes, I will be signing them. They have like a designated section where for book signings. I think it's just, I think you go down this way on the hall. And it's going to be immediately following here. Yeah, so right after I'm going to go there and we'll have the books and the Oracle deck, crystal cards, which are, I did. Yeah, see, it was like I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. Thank you. Yes, those actually will release on Valentine's Day. They're all pre-order right now, but my publisher was super awesome and knew I was doing this event, so they sent me copies earlier. So I got this giant box from Penguin House, Random House, and so yes, I will have those, and I have special praises for the Expo attendees, of course. So I'm so glad you're so excited. I'm so excited too. Thank you. So yes, that will be available immediately after, and of course I will sign that for you, love. Thank you. So do you have any questions about crystals, about maybe? Yes? Yes? I love that question. Thank you. Yes, the out-of-body experience it has happened because everybody experiences Reiki a little bit differently. So when I have, they weren't scared, which was great because I wasn't sure when they came back and was like, I felt like I was floating. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, yes, float, do it, go. But then the next session they wanted to do it again and it didn't happen. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. It's kind of how your energy is when it happens, because our energy changes. I mean, even throughout the day, if you think about it. So every Reiki session is a little bit different. Have you all had Reiki? Have you had a Reiki session? Yeah? No? Wow. We have all the pros here. I love it. Yeah. Beautiful. Yay. See, I had never had one before, and I was like, what is this? And I'm like, I need to teach it. And now, go figure. Like, look at me now. Yeah, it was, I really took it to heart, we'll say. And then I studied with several masters afterwards, too. So I studied with a woman in Canada, and I studied with a woman in Huntington Beach, actually. She was super cool. I was trying to study with another one from the Netherlands, but it was during pandemic, he couldn't come, so I studied with his student, which was close enough, right? Which was awesome. And then another one was a distance, so like Zoom and, that kind of stuff. So I also wanted to experience what the difference was, because I was like, when I first was introduced to Reiki, they said, oh yes, you can do distance Reiki. You can, of course, energy is not, bound by space or time, and it transpires through everything. But then you had very rigid Reiki masters that said, no, I'm sorry, you can only take Reiki in person. So sorry for that, but no, it's only in person. And I was like, but I can't study with you now, and I'm not done, right? And then during the pandemic, a really interesting thing happened. Suddenly they couldn't teach. So they were like, oh, I've had this divine download of how now I can teach distance. I was like, really? Really? I've been saying that for a minute. Did you remember this? Yeah, so it's definitely something that you can teach through distance. I mean, I've had students, like I said, and clients across the world. So yeah, it's definitely something you can do, and I kind of like that. Right. Amazing. Yeah, yeah. And what is the difference, right? What is the difference between doing it, there in person or doing it, through a Zoom? I love it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're energetic beings. So Reiki, when you're working with Reiki and crystal Reiki as well, it's not bound by space and time, because space and time has nothing to do with how energy travels or how it works, right? I mean, look at our galaxy, look at our solar system. I mean, it's like moving constantly. We don't know, but it's happening, right? And solar flares, we've had a lot of solar flares lately, for example, coming off the sun, and it's affected people in such a really amazing way, but nobody realizes that's what's going on. And it's energy. You've got a whole bunch of balls of light and heat coming towards you, and of course you're going to feel the effects. Like, for me, I'm like, it's not rocket science, but actually maybe it is. So maybe that one is rocket science. That one might be rocket science. But yes, how that energy works. And I had I did a show, I have a podcast and TV show, Raise Your Vibes, and I worked with spoke with one, Dr. Mercala. He was amazing because he was like, I love that you do distance, because I find that when I do distance healing, the further away the client is, the stronger they feel the energy. Because think about it, like energy, it's like a snowball effect, right? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as it's getting towards that person. Right. And that's yes, exactly. So it's almost like and maybe that's why I have so many clients in like India and Australia and stuff. That might have something to do with it. But it's so amazing because they really feel it, and it's in real time. We're connected during the session, as you are, right? It's in real time, but you really tune inwards, and you're just able to putting a picture, having a look at their face, or channeling that energy towards their name. Like, they feel it, I feel it, and at the end it's like, wow, how's everybody doing? I'm like, please go ground, because that I can't do for them. I'm like, you need to also go ground yourself and have some water and all of that. So yes. Do you have any other questions, or we can start with some healing work? And I would love for you to experience crystal Reiki. Well, how to create a crystal grid. You want to begin by setting an intention, 100%. So everything starts with your intention setting. And what I like to start with the center stone. That's always going to be my first stone. And then from there, I choose, if it's for a client, if it's for myself, you can do it for everything. I mean, you can do it for, if you're trying to manifest more money, if you're trying to manifest more love, if you're trying to manifest a child, if you're trying to, or like in pregnancy with your, not a child, like they're going to pop up, but, you still have to do the work, right? It's one of those things. But any of these things that you're trying to, a new job, or, repairing relationships, or repairing old traumas, you can choose crystals that resonate for that frequency. So for, rose quartz for love. I mean, if you look at the cheat sheet, you'll have, or obsidian. Oh my God, this is like one of my favorite. I'm wearing it too, of course. Yeah, always. So obsidian is one of those really amazing stones. It works also for your root chakra. But it's also one of those incredible things, and I highly recommend it while we're here, because, and I'll use this spear, for example. This is my obsidian spear. I use this a lot for cutting cords. People have cords of obsidian. In fact, if you guys would like some cord cutting today, I'm happy to do that, because we have so much energy going on out there that it's kind of, I don't know. I came by yesterday. I was really overwhelmed. I was like, wow, that was so much. I was like, I need to sleep. And my friends are like, you need to sage. I'm like, I don't even know if I have the energy to go sage right now. I'm going to just go to bed. But obsidian, carrying that with you is really amazing, because this is kind of like it's like the boomerang crystal. It's like I call it the return to sender. So in that way, you're around, especially for empaths, you're around others who, just say maybe they don't have the best intention. Energy vampires, big one, they're trying to leech off your energy, like, ooh, she's delicious. I'm going to just suck on her right now. Come here, give me more, right? And you're like, no, thank you. No wonder I'm so tired afterwards, right? So when you work with obsidian, it kind of works as like a shield as well, and my return to sender. So what happens is you're literally like kind of boomeranging their energy back to them. Like, no thanks, you can keep it. And it's not in a bad way. It's not that it's going to be harmful for them, because that's their energy anyway. I would hope so, but that's going to be their personal journey. I can only do so much. Yes, only goodness to and from me. I love this. Yeah, that's wonderful. So obsidian kind of works, similar, but it's, you're keeping that away from you or sending it return to sender. Likewise, when you're cutting cords. So you cut cords, you returning those, but then what about those, yeah, what about that? The sealing. A lot of us, we forget about sealing, right? Because then you're still like wide open. It's like you got to stitch that up. And obsidian is really, really fantastic for that. Selenite is also another one. Oh, do you? Yeah, no, selenite is another one. If you don't have a selenite, if you don't have any crystals yet. Wait, does everybody have crystals? Do you have crystals? Yeah, maybe silly question. I don't know. If you have anything, you should have selenite. This needs to be like this is, gosh, it's incredible. So it works with all of your chakras, right? It really does. It works with all the chakras, helping to balance, help to clean your energy. Of course, that's going to be in Raise Your Vibes, the crystal cards, because you can't have an oracle deck without selenite, right? So that one's in there. And it's all about cleansing your energy. But when you use this for cord cutting, what's really nice is you're also sealing. So this one is like a sharper, like when you have like an energy vampire situation, somebody is really like draining you, or sometimes this is very common with like an old flame, a past love interest or relationship, and you just can't like move on from it because you've got so many different cords going on there, and then it can be attached from different places too. When I do a Reiki session, I always make sure to work on the person's backside as well as the front, because our chakras are just as important on, behind us. Yeah, thank you. I love it. Yeah, so important. And so much of what we don't see, and so much of our past, as well as the spine being where you carry your karma. This is where we carry our karmic, garbage, I guess you say, carried over. And some of this stuff, we're ready to let go of it, but it becomes part of our identity, just like pain. Pain becomes part of your identity. And sometimes people can't let that go because it's all they know of themselves. So working on that back, also you can help release those cords of attachment that you have created to even your own pain. As well as accessing the chakras in a way. I love it for root chakra, because when when they're laying on their back, working on this part over here, your root chakra, that one is really, it's sensitive. It's a little too close to, our privates, and you just don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. But when they turn over on their backside, oh my gosh, the end of that tailbone is just amazing and so easy to access when you're doing Reiki. So, or even placing a crystal on that. So if you're doing Reiki sessions, I highly recommend working on the backside. Or if you go to a Reiki practitioner, you can just ask. You can be like, hey, so do you also work on my back, or do you work on only the front? Yeah, they don't usually. It's true. And I personally think that working on the back is so, so important. You're just missing out on a part of their healing experience. And helping, especially with all that karmic stuff. I mean, think about it. Your back, your spine, that carries your central nervous system. Everything that makes you alive comes from that brain, that stem that runs down your back. So why not work with that? Why not help that heal as well and have direct access to it? It's amazing. You can also do that through distance, and that's, I think, why a lot of people don't have them go on to their onto their stomach during a session because they think, oh, well, I can just do it, like it'll just go through. But I really find that the most successful sessions have been where I work on the backside too, for the client, for them, not for me, but for them.
Have you noticed that when you turn them on their stomach, that they kind of ground with Mother Earth?
Oh, yeah.
You've already done.
Yes, yeah. So it's like they're helping their own healing process. Oh, hugging mom. I love that. Yeah, exactly. And Reiki feels a bit like that. It's kind of like that warm, well, whoever your mother figure was. Not all of us have wonderful, loving mothers. Mom, whoever was your mother figure. Yeah, your momish person. Thank you. Yes, whoever was that mother love to you as a child. Sometimes a big sister, sometimes an aunt, grandmother. So Reiki feels a bit like that loving embrace from, whoever you were most connected to with as a child. So, yes. Do you have any other questions? I do want to make sure that I have time to give you all some healing work too, because that's, the most fun, right? But yes, any questions? Anything you would like to know? We're all set? Okay, so I'll just, you two are together, so I'll just ask that maybe, maybe we could move that chair forward a bit so I can get to your side, or you can move it back or forward, either way. Yeah, and then I can reach all of you. That's all. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you definitely want to get pictures of the grid. Definitely, yes. Would anybody like cord cutting with today's session as well? Or I'll just do it with it. Yep, of course. Yes. You don't have, it's only cutting what is not meant to serve your highest good. I'm not severing any cords between you two, don't worry. You keep all of that bond right there, yes. Wow, who needs a rose quartz? I love it. Okay, all right, wonderful. Well, I will begin. So for today's session, if you just want to go ahead, I will start here and channeling for you. So we will have a whole beautiful Reiki like bubble around the room, right? Just allow yourself to have that wonderful motherly embrace, right? And then I will get up in a minute and I will come around and each of you will enjoy a Rehu blessing. Now, Rehu blessing is very it's really an attunement. If you've done Reiki, it's what they consider an attunement, which is like a kind of like the graduating of each of your Reiki levels. But Osu Sensei, who performed these regularly for his students, it wasn't just, oh, you passed level 1, here, let's do an attunement. It was like, no, more attunements the better. So what's really nice about an attunement is you find that afterwards your path is just a little clearer, your sense of purpose is a little bit clearer. You maybe start gravitating or vibrating towards things that are meant to be for you. Sometimes it's really subtle, and sometimes it's like really extreme. Like the next day you're like, wow, that was fast. Yes. No, not at all. Oh, wonderful. Of work. Do you feel okay? She's laughing. I'm not sure. I can never get enough Reiki for myself personally. Oh, absolutely. Well, a Rehu blessing, so what this will do, this is also just opening your channel to divine. Now, Reiki continues to work for several days after you've had a session, right? So, and you'll be feeling it. Did you do it today? Yeah, so maybe tomorrow, next day, you're still going to be feeling the effects of that. So because it works for a few days, why not just center and ground that energy into you? Allow yourself to stay open so that it continues to work even longer. They say that, when you're learning, group sessions are even more powerful because you've got multi Reiki masters working you at once. If you're that lucky to have several working on you at once, oh my God, please do it. It's such an experience. It's so cool. And the sessions are usually shorter because it's, you have 5 different people working on you, right? So if you have a chance to do that or in a group session, I highly recommend it. But yeah, I have no problem with that at all. I think it's beautiful. More Reiki, the better. And this is a Reiki blessing. If you don't feel comfortable or you don't want to, or you're second guessing, when I come around to you, yeah, well, when I come around, so I'm just gonna have you when we start. I'll have you sit with your arms just kind of like relaxing in your chest. If you're not ready to receive or you feel uncomfortable, you just bring your hands together. Does that work for you? Okay. But I always say more Reiki the better. I mean, look, I was doing it 4 or 5 times a day, self treatments when I was healing from back surgery. So Reiki will always go for your highest good. There's no harm there. That's the whole point of this beautiful energy, and especially with crystal Reiki, that's the whole point. It's all about your highest good. So you are going to be flying for the next few days. It's going to be awesome. Oh, yeah. All right, well, let's just keep that flow open for you. Let's just keep that going, right? I love that. Yes, love. Oh my gosh, of course you can. Please, yes. Okay, so what we'll do, which I'll start down here, but what we can do is I want you to start with, you can all see me. We'll start with your intention. Okay, so I'm not going to ask you specifically what your place of focus are. I feel like that's a little bit private, and you're allowed to keep that for yourself, whether it's, whatever you're going through. So you go ahead and just consider what your place of focus is. And we're not holding this during the session. We are just going to allow that to be our focus, allow ourselves to open to the idea that we can work on healing this area of our lives. And then just let it go and let it flow. However you feel will be your normal, whether it's tingly or warm or tired or emotional, you're in a safe place. If you feel like you need to cry, I promise no judgment. Okay, loves? ready, you can kind of just start coming back into yourself, taking some nice breaths. Good. Move your legs a little. Let that flow. So in the days following, and I highly recommend after tonight, please have some cool water. Do what you need to do to help yourself ground. You've had a lot of Reiki, so you want to make sure that you're, doing some extra grounding for yourself these next few days. More Reiki the better. If you can go again tomorrow, amazing. Like, what a blessing that you're able to have so much in a weekend. I love that. But yes, you'll want to do extra grounding. And again, that's, you're channeling that divine healing light from above. You're having some serious energy moving through you in your chakra centers. And through this one, I really hope that this brings some love and some peace and some joy to your days following. Thank you all so much for joining me. It has been such a gift to my amazing sound man, James, back here. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for making me sound great. And for all of you, I wish you all so much love, so much healing, so many blessings. Do you have any questions or any thoughts before we wrap up today? I know I'm a little over. Sorry? Oh, fantastic. So nobody's going to kick me out just yet. Amazing. Amazing. But yes, do you have any questions, any thoughts? Anybody have any? You're just going to... I love that. That was a whole vibe right there. I love that. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so grateful that resonated for you. It's so important to find healers, especially in any healing modality, but it's so important to find a practitioner that you resonate with. Because when you resonate with them, you are more open, you are more comfortable, and then you're able to accept that healing so much more than if somebody that you don't resonate with. So not to say that some are good and some are bad, just everybody resonates a little bit differently. And it's always important to find somebody that resonates with you. So yes, thank you. If you would like to take a picture or enjoy the grid for a moment before it's up, any thoughts, any questions? No? Yes? Okay, you're most welcome. Thank you all so much. Thank you, loves. Oh, I love to hear that. Powerful and gentle. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here and you were able to enjoy it. It's all about the right place and the right time, isn't it? Yeah, all about divine timing. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing and helping me set up.
Thank you, Athena.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you've been able to heal yourself.
Thank you. Oh, I lost my mic. I have to. I feel like I have to share this forward. I mean, I'm not the only one that suffers, right? Or suffered, I should say. Everybody has their own issues. So if I can do my little part to help that one person, then it's all worth it.
It went to so many different places, and when we first started working, we saw this pattern of
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Oh,
seeing
I've never
colors.
seen it.
Seeing colors is so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And every Reiki session is a little different. I mean, some you'll feel things, some you'll see things, some you get messages. I mean, it's like there's
so
no
much,
end.
So much happened, I can't even remember what. People were coming.
Oh,